They call us the Rats of Tobruk, but we can still sing, and here's our opening number, Bless Them All. Cheer up, my lads, bless them all, the long and the short and the cold. There'll be no from horses this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
My full name is Harry Ross Hope Sutherland. I was in the 7th Division, and that was part of the 18th Brigade in Tobruk. The living conditions were terrible. We dug a hole in the ground to live in. That was also to protect us from the bombing raids. And the hole was full of fleas and flies, and every now and again a dust storm would come in, and that's how we used to have to live. And the food was terrible and very little water. Oh, the reasons we were fighting there in the first place because Germany declared war on England, and if the German advance hadn't have been stopped, they would have. You don't know how far they would have gone. They would have captured lots of lands. They had to be stopped anyway because they were just marching everywhere, all over Europe and everywhere, taking control everywhere they went. They just took control. And Tobruk was the first time they were ever stopped in their advances. The scariest time was when the German planes come over, and I was in the target area, which was a food depot, and that's what they were there for, to destroy all the food. And we were there working there, and I looked up and saw these planes. I thought they were British planes, but next minute they were diving down on top of us, and I realised then they were Germans. And the planes that were attacking us were called Stuka dive bombers, and they used to get up directly above the target, come down straight, then release their bombs and pull out of the dive. And us blokes that were working there, we were terrified with the terrific explosions and near death that was close by, but luckily none of us got killed. The memories I have is the mateship. I mean, some of the blokes, their nerves used to go on them, and we used to talk to each other and help each other because the strain of the continual air raids just shattered your nerves, and it was hard to keep your nerves together, and some of them found trouble in that regard, and we used to talk to them and help them and do whatever we could, and they appreciated that, and that sort of thing we did that year.
When the Führer says, wie ist der Master Race, wie Heil, Heil, right in the Führer's face. Not to love the Führer is a great disgrace, so be Heil, Heil.
Oh, we used to have a bit of fun. I mean, it wasn't all doom and gloom. And one of the things I remember, there was an average of 10 air raids every day in Tobruk, see, and you were forever on the alert that there's going to be an air raid, and you always had your ears open because we used to get a warning with the air raid siren. And anyway, of course, we had to try and keep a bit clean, so we'd go down the sea and jump into the water there and clean up a bit. Anyhow, there was one of the fellows in our unit. What we did was we got a plank and put it over the edge of the beach where it was the water was deep and there was a bit of a cliff there. We got a plank and put it there, got big heavy rocks and stuck on the end of the plank so the plank wouldn't give way. This fellow said, I'll show you how to do a perfect swallow dive. So he jumped on the end of the plank and he got halfway up in the air and he's about to put his hands out to dive when the anti-aircraft guns opened up and they went bang, bang. And he put his hands over his head like that and fell into the water like a stone. He was protecting his head. That was one. And another thing that I remember, there were two of the boys in our unit. One we called Popeye McCullough and the other one was called Dick Owens. We were at a food depot, and we had to sort the food out, the bully beef from the biscuits and all the rest of it. And German Messerschmitt fighters used to come in every now and again and machine gun the foods because it'd be rotten, wouldn't be able to eat it. So the air raid siren went, and Popeye McCullough said to his mate Dickie Owens, he said, do you want to play chicken? He said, how do you mean play chicken? He said, well, go down on the mark. And he said, the dugout over there, he said, it's about 100 yards away. He said, we'll get down on the ground. And as the fighter plane zooms in, whoever jumps up first to run to the dugout, he'll be the chicken. So anyway, I was already in the dugout watching them. They're down on the mark, and this German Messerschmitt fighter's coming in. You could hear it getting louder and louder. So Popeye McCullough jumped up, and he ran for his life to the dugout and jumped in. And Dickie Owens, he got there alongside of it, but Popeye got into the hole first. Dickie Owens said to him, you chicken. We didn't come across many Libyans at all. The civilian population had all gone. But we did come across some Libyans, and we got on well with them, and mostly sign language because they couldn't speak English, we couldn't speak Libyan. But we did meet a few, and they were quite nice fellows, yeah. They used to help with the work. See, what used to happen was the company that I was in was known as a 7th Division Supply Column, and we used to have to, when the destroyers came in at night and unloaded food, we used to have to get the food and load it onto trucks and drive it to a depot. And once we got it at the depot, we just dumped it there. And then later on, that food had to be sorted out to different categories than what it was. And the Libyans, they used to help us to do that. What did I think of the Italians and Germans? Oh, well, when they were giving us a hard time, we used to call them all sorts of names. But the German dive bomber pilots were very brave. They used to come down very close to the ground before they dropped their bombs, and they were all pretty good soldiers. And the Italian prisoners, the first time we met them, they were going to Egypt, and we were going up the other way, and some of the Italians could speak English, and they said, hey, Aussies, you're going the wrong way, the Germans are up there. And we got on quite friendly with them, yes. They were treated all right. They got the same sort of food as we got, and as we didn't get much water, and they didn't get much water either. But they were treated the same as what we were. They weren't ill-treated in any way. Did I see anyone actually die? Oh, well, I was in a supply company like transport and that, and yeah, I saw people that had died, yes. They were buried in a makeshift grave like while the war was on, but when the war was finished, there was a proper cemetery built, and they're buried up there in Tobruk. There was a hospital there in Tobruk. It used to belong to the town before the war started that, and the wounded used to be taken to the hospital and be treated there, and the seriously ill ones would be taken out by ship of a night time. The only thing we got was malnutrition sores. But we didn't get the diseases from the fleas or the flies and that, but we suffered from malnutrition sores. I left there on the night of the 28th of August, and we went in an English mine-laying cruiser called the Abdeel, and the ship could sail at 42 knots. And we sailed out of Tobruk during the night and landed at Alexandria later on that day. The Polish troops took over from us. Yeah. When we left the Middle East, we then went fighting up in the Pacific, and their whole train of thoughts were distant from the Middle East. We had to think about the Pacific then.
When the lights go on again all over the world, and the boys are home again all over the world.
Well, I think they as they talk about Gallipoli, I think they could teach the children in schools today about Tobruk, and that would be a good way of memorising what took place there. I would like the people to think on Anzac Day the soldiers that lost their lives there, helping to protect Australia, and that's the freedom we enjoy today through the losses that happened with those poor men in those days. Every Anzac Day, our thoughts go back to the ones that got left behind there that, never came home but lost their life. We feel very sad about that. I joined this army just 6 weeks ago, and I found out before long I'd made a blue, because all we ever get to eat is bully beef stew.
Gunner J.M. Tether, Tobruk, 1941. There's places that I've been in that I didn't like too well. New England's far too blooming cold and Perth's as hot as hell. Townsville's beer is always warm, its taste is pretty crook, but one and all are perfect to this place they call Tobruk. We reckoned Massa Braga was none too flash a place. The swamps of Alligala weren't in the ruddy race. At towns this side of Ghazi we hadn't time to look, but I'll stake my oath they're better than Musso's old Tobruk. I've seen the Mallee dust storms that stop the farmers' work. There's enough inside our shirts here to smother all of Burke. 2 diggers cleaned their dugout, their blankets out they shook, a mate asphyxiated in the sand of our Tobruk. For wowzery teetotalers who hate all kinds of drink, this place would be well suited, they wouldn't even blink. For grog we've turned the place out, we've searched in every nook, but liquor's scarce as hen's teeth in the hotels of Tobruk. We've centipedes like pythons and countless hordes of fleas. They come in panzer fashion as large as AFVs. The weevils like our porridge and everything we cook. There's quite a lot of livestock inhabiting Tobruk. The shelling's nice and frequent, it whistles round our head. I dive into my dugout, find shrapnel in my bed. We live in holes like rabbits, too small to read a book. The electric light is lousy in the dugouts of Tobruk. Sometimes we go in swimming and float about at ease, in water clear as crystal, cooled by the salty breeze. Soon down comes blasted Herman, his bombs are pretty crook. We dive right to the bottom of the harbour at Tobruk. I'm certain that this country wasn't meant for me or you. Let's give it to the Arab, for he knows what to do. Let's leave its arid spaces without one backward look. I've had it for a lifetime, this hot spot called Tobruk.